I want you to try a little experiment with me. Picture the last 5 people you saw on your social media feed. You know, the ones with millions of likes, the influencers, the movie stars,
Okay, yeah.
or even just the filters everyone is using right now. If you strip away the style and the context, there's a specific geometry that just keeps popping up, isn't there?
It's undeniable. You see it everywhere once you really start looking.
It's the big eyes, the incredibly smooth skin, the jawlines that are defined but somehow soft, small chins. It's this very specific look. And for the longest time, I just kind of rolled my eyes at it. I
Mhm.
figured, okay, this is just vanity. We're a youth-obsessed culture. We're afraid of dying, so we worship looking young. Case closed, right?
That is the cynical take, for
Yeah.
sure. And look, it's not entirely wrong, but it's missing the basement level of what's actually happening.
Exactly. And that's why I was so excited to get into this stack of research today, because what we found suggests that this isn't just about vanity or some superficial trend. It's evolutionary biology, it's psychology, it's deeply wired into how our brains process safety.
We are talking about the science of neoteny.
Neoteny. Now, that is a word that usually stays in biology textbooks, but in the context of dating, attraction, and even how we hire people,
Yeah.
it is explosive.
It really is. I mean, technically, neoteny is the retention of juvenile traits into adulthood.
Right.
But as we unpack these sources, we're going to see that this isn't just about looking young in a chronological sense. It's a signaling system.
A biological billboard.
That's a great way to put it. A billboard that tells other humans, I am safe, I am healthy, and I am ready to connect.
But, and this is a huge but that we have to address right at the top, we're also going to navigate some pretty dark waters today.
We have to.
Because you can't talk about liking youthful features without bumping into a very uncomfortable question. Where is the line between a healthy appreciation for vitality and the pathological fetishization of children?
That is the crucial distinction. And the sources we have today are adamant about drawing a hard line there. We have to separate the biological signal for safety
From the predatory drive?
from the predatory drive for exploitation. Yes.
Okay. And finally, we're going to talk about the trap. Because if we're all biologically wired to love this softness, modern culture, and specifically the tech world, has found a way to hack that wiring.
The concept of the supernormal stimulus.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
It explains why you can't stop staring at those filters even when you know they're fake. So let's dive in. What exactly are we looking at when we talk about neoteny?
To understand neoteny, we really have to go back to the 1940s and an Austrian ethologist named Konrad Lorenz. He proposed a concept that he called Kindchen schema.
Kindchen schema. That sounds very serious.
It translates to baby schema. And Lorenz noticed that across species, not just humans, but dogs, cats, even bears, we seem to be programmed to respond to a specific set of features.
Like what?
A large head relative to the body, large eyes positioned lower on the face, round cheeks, a small nose.
Basically the blueprint for a teddy bear.
Literally. That's why
Yeah.
teddy bears are designed that way. And the research shows that when the human brain sees this arrangement of features, it triggers a very specific involuntary hormonal response.
Mm-hmm.
The amygdala, that's your threat center, the part of your brain scanning for danger, it quiets down.
Hmm.
And the oxytocin centers, they light up.
So before I even have a conscious thought about a person, before I know their name or their job, my brain has already decided this thing is not going to kill me.
Precisely. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. Imagine you are a hunter-gatherer 50,000 years ago. You encounter a stranger on the path.
Okay.
Your brain has milliseconds to run a calculation. Fight or flight, friend or foe.
And if I get that calculation wrong,
You're dead.
I'm dead.
Right. Now, in the wild, if you encounter something with sharp angles, a heavy brow ridge, rigid skin texture, and a jutting jaw,
Mm.
historically, biologically, those are expensive traits.
What do you mean by expensive?
They're fueled by testosterone. They are defensive.
It's nature's armor.
Yes. They signal dominance. They signal, I can fight. So your
Mm.
brain goes on alert. But a neotenous face, the smooth contours, the open eyes, it signals low threat.
Cab.
It triggers a caretaking or approaching response rather than a defensive one.
Okay, that makes total sense for babies. We need to not kill babies. We need to take care of them. But here's the curveball in the research, and this is where I got stuck.
Mhm.
We aren't just talking about babies. We are talking about why grown adults find other grown adults attractive. Why is a baby signal sexy on a 30-year-old?
This is where neoteny becomes a sexual signal, not just a parental one. The sources argue that in humans, we have kind of sexualized these safety cues, because they indicate something specific about resources.
Break that down. How does safety become sexy?
Well, think about the biological cost.
Mm.
To maintain a hard, face-high testosterone, thick skin, heavy bone structure, it takes a toll on the immune system.
Oh.
It's metabolically expensive.
So you're saying that looking soft is actually a flex?
In a way, yes. If an adult has retained soft traits, smooth skin, clear eyes, a lack of weathering, it signals two things. One is genetic health. It says, I am vital enough that I haven't been crushed by the environment.
And the second thing?
The second thing is behavioral. This is the part that I think is fascinating. Neoteny is linked to emotional openness.
Okay.
If you look at someone with high neoteny, you unconsciously assume they are cooperative, non-aggressive, and this is capable of learning.
Capable of learning.
Think about it. Young animals learn. They play, they adapt. Old animals have rigid habits.
Right.
So a neotenous face signals neuroplasticity. It signals, I can adapt, I can play, I'm not stuck in my ways.
That is a massive aha moment. So when I'm attracted to that look, I'm not actually looking for a child.
No.
I'm looking for an adult who hasn't lost the ability to adapt.
Bingo. You're looking for safe vitality.
Yeah.
You want a partner who is capable, but who isn't going to be rigid or aggressive towards you.
Okay, I buy the safe vitality argument. It makes sense biologically. But we have to slam the brakes here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you say men like women with childlike features, or even people like partners with baby faces, you immediately open the door to a really disturbing conversation about pedophilia.
You do, and you should. The sources we're analyzing today don't shy away from this. They confront it head on.
It feels like a slippery slope argument, right? People worry that if we normalize attraction to youthfulness, we are somehow normalizing attraction to children.
But the research says that biologically and psychologically, these are two completely different brain states. It's not a sliding scale.
It's a different bucket.
It's a different bucket entirely.
How so? Because to the untrained eye, small nose and big eyes is just small nose and big eyes.
Context is everything.
Mm-hmm.
When a healthy adult is attracted to neatness features and another adult, say a 30-year-old woman with big eyes and a soft jaw, the drive is pure connection.
Right.
The brain is seeking a partner who is an equal, but an equal who feels safe.
So the attraction relies on the person being an adult.
Crucially, the context is adulthood. You are seeking the absence of threat in a peer. In contrast, the pathological attraction to children pedophilia is not driven by a search for a safe peer.
It's something else.
It is driven by a fixation on dependency, a lack of sexual development, and a power imbalance.
The sources use the phrase category error.
Right. Confusing the two is a category error. The healthy brain sees softness in an adult and thinks intimacy. The pathological brain sees child and thinks exploitation. Those are opposite directions.
So if I can summarize the sources' stance here, the problem isn't liking soft features. The problem is when those features are decoupled from autonomy.
Exactly. If you remove the adult part of the equation, the autonomy, the maturity, the consent, then you aren't talking about neoteny anymore. You're talking about predation.
That's a heavy distinction, but a necessary one, because we need to be able to talk about why these faces are appealing without feeling like we're endorsing something terrible.
And the reason they are appealing is actually quite poignant if you look at the sociology of it.
Poignant. That's an interesting word choice. Why poignant?
Well, look at the third article in our stack. It discusses the sociology of hardness.
This is the part about the armored adult.
Yes. Think about how we define maturity in the modern world. Paying bills, climbing the corporate ladder, dealing with conflict, stoicism. We associate adulthood with calcification.
Becoming a rock.
Becoming a rock. We are trained to build armor because the world feels competitive and harsh. So imagine you are walking through a world of rocks. Everyone is hard. Everyone is stressed. Everyone is signaling dominance and competence because they have to survive.
And then you see a face that looks soft.
It stands out like a beacon. The source argues that we crave neotenous features in partners, in friends, because they offer a respite.
It's the contrast. If everyone looks like they're ready for war, the person who looks like they're ready to play is magnetic.
It offers a physiological release. The source lists the unconscious assumptions we make about people with these baby faces.
Okay, what are they?
We assume they are. 1, less aggressive. 2, more honest. And 3, which I loved, more likely to forgive.
Wow. We assume they're more likely to forgive us.
We do. We project moral innocence onto them.
Which is a trap in itself, isn't it? I mean, I've known plenty of people with angelic faces who are absolute
Oh,
sharks.
completely. It's a cognitive bias. It's called the halo effect. Because they look innocent, we assume they are innocent.
Mm-hmm.
But from an attraction standpoint, you can see why it works.
Mm.
If life feels hard, you want a partner who feels soft.
You want a place to put down the heavy load.
Exactly. You want a partner who signals play and flexibility, not just more work and rigidity.
But this brings us to the modern problem. Biology tells us soft is safe, soft is good, soft is flexible. But we don't live in the forest anymore. We live in the age of Instagram. And this is where things get weird.
This is where we have to talk about Nico Tinbergen and the supernormal stimulus.
Define that for us, because I feel like this explains half the internet.
It really does. Tinbergen was a Nobel Prize-winning biologist. He did these experiments with birds.
Okay.
He found that if a bird likes a bright blue egg and you build a giant, fake, neon blue egg, something that doesn't exist in nature, the bird will go crazy for it.
Wow.
It will abandon its real eggs to sit on the fake neon one.
Because the fake one hits the brain's trigger harder than the real thing?
Exactly. It hijacks the instinct. And the sources argue that the beauty industry, makeup, filters, plastic surgery, is essentially creating neon blue eggs for human attraction.
We are industrializing neoteny.
We are exaggerating it beyond biology. Look at a standard beauty filter. What does it do? It doesn't just smooth your skin.
Yeah.
It enlarges the eyes to a proportion that is physically impossible for a human skull.
Right.
It shrinks the chin to a size that couldn't support teeth.
It creates a cartoon.
It creates a supernormal stimulus. And the danger, according to the source material, is that this trains our perception. We start to view actual human faces with pores and texture and normal proportions as wrong.
The source called this the erasure of age.
It's the erasure of experience. If we equate beauty strictly with these exaggerated signals of youth, we start to treat signs of adulthood lines, texture, gravity as failure.
Which is terrifying, because it implies that to be attractive, you have to erase the evidence that you have lived a life.
That's the toxicity. It tells women, and increasingly men, that their value lies in their blankness. A baby's face is a blank slate. An adult's face is a written history.
And if we're obsessed with the blank slate,
We are devaluing the history.
and it creates this weird dissonance. We want the competence of an adult. We want a partner who can pay the mortgage and handle a crisis, but we want them to look like they've never experienced stress in their life.
That's the paradox. We want a general who looks like a recruit. And that is an impossible standard to meet.
So how do we fix this? Because we can't rewire our biology. We like what we like. If big eyes and smooth skin signal safety to my lizard brain, I can't just turn that off.
No, you can't,
Yeah.
but you can integrate it. The source provides a framework for what they call integrated attraction.
What's the formula?
It's about moving from visual neoteny to behavioral neoteny.
Explain that.
Instead of just looking for the face of a child, we should be looking for the qualities we associate with youth. Curiosity, playfulness, openness, emotional flexibility,
But paired with adult competence.
playful without being dependent. That is the phrase from the text that everyone needs to write down.
Playful without being dependent.
I mean, think about the alternatives. A child is playful and dependent. It is our but it's not a partner.
Right.
A burned-out adult is independent but rigid. That's a partner, but it's a grind.
The sweet spot is the middle.
The sweet spot is an adult who has the autonomy to handle their life. They are safe, grounded, regulated, but they have retained the spirit of neoteny. They are still soft enough to connect.
So if I'm listening to this and trying to evaluate my own type, it's okay to like the soft look.
It's totally okay. It's biological. It means you value safety. But the check engine light should come on if you realize you are attracted to helplessness.
That's the key. Are you attracted to the safety signal or are you attracted to the lack of power?
Exactly. Healthy neoteny signals, I am safe to approach. Unhealthy pathology signals, I am easy to control. If you can distinguish between those two, you're in the clear.
And that ties back to the ethics we talked about earlier. Maturity, autonomy, and consent are the bedrock.
They are non-negotiable. If you have those, then the softness is just a beautiful invitation to connect. If you don't have those, the softness is a trap.
It's funny, we started this deep dive thinking we were talking about beauty trends, why are baby faces cute?
And we ended up talking about the fundamental human need for safety in a hostile world.
Which I guess is what the deep dive is always about. So to recap what we've learned today, neoteny is a biological signal for non-threat and capacity to learn. Our brains love it because it promises a safe interaction.
But culture has hijacked it to sell us filters and insecurity, creating that supernormal stimulus that makes us reject real faces.
And the antidote is to look for the spirit of the trait. We want safe vitality, not innocent helplessness.
Safe vitality in a grown-up package.
Wow.
That's the goal.
Now, before we sign off, I want to leave the listener with a thought from the very bottom of our source stack. It's something of a challenge to how we speak.
Yeah. This stuck with me. We keep calling these youthful traits.
Right.
Openness, curiosity, softness, the ability to play. We treat them as things we are supposed to grow out of.
And because we think we're supposed to grow out of them, we feel like we have to fake them with makeup or surgery later in life.
Right. But what if we flip the script? What if those aren't childish traits? What if those are just human traits?
Meaning, the goal of adulthood shouldn't be to become hard.
Exactly. If the most attractive, most magnetic, most safe people are the ones who kept their softness, maybe growing up shouldn't mean closing off. Maybe the ultimate form of maturity is having the strength to stay soft.
I love that. Staying soft is a power move.
It's the ultimate power move.
As you go about your week, take a look at the faces around you. Look past the filters. Look for the people who are brave enough to stay open. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.